And along with making us legit comes cash. Tons of it. I mean, what do you think we're doing out here in the middle of the desert? It's all this money. This is the end result of all the bright lights and the comp trips, of all the champagne and free hotel suites, and all the broads and all the booze. It's all been arranged just for us to get your money. We're the only winners. The players don't stand a chance.
Like the stage hands.
Yeah, we do look like the roadies today, everyone. We're all in black. But
With my Kojima.
Now, it's a sad day. That's why we're in black, everybody. I just feel bad for Rockstar. Let's just have a chat about Rockstar. You know, they're getting a bad rap, everyone. They're getting a bad rap. They're just trying to make it in the video game industry, okay?
They're struggling indie dev.
They didn't make the highest grossing piece of entertainment that humankind has ever witnessed, everybody. So they need the money, okay? So they've gone back to the drawing board. They've thought, how do we make a product that's ethical, that, you know, doesn't feed into people's vices, and, you know, won't make headlines for people like Laymen Gamon, everybody?
Would you say that GTA 5 has become the Vice City of video games?
Are you serious?
Please don't subscribe, everybody. Please leave now, because that's what you're going to get for the next 10:01 from this guy.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen, stick around.
Here we go.
Alright, so, Grand Theft Auto,
It's a game.
pretty
Pretty
rad game. I remember playing, I was working at Harvey Norman when Grand Theft Auto first came out.
Number three.
Number 3, that's right. And I remember the rep for that
Rockstar?
game, for Rockstar.
That game?
Well, it was 2K, yeah, 2K rep or whatever. He actually came into the store and he says, look, you should buy lots of copies of this because it's going to sell more than Gran Turismo, which was like, at that time, a really massive game.
Wow.
Everyone was like, and we laughed. We're like, that's ridiculous. There's no fucking way that this game, Grand Theft Auto, is going to sell more than that. That's stupid. No fucking way. Because before this, Grand Theft Auto was just that 2D one,
2D,
right?
like bird's eye view.
Exactly right. So then Grand Theft Auto 3 came out and just like,
Shrek'd everything.
completely Shrek
And has
everything.
always-
It's all ogre now, baby.
You're making me very uncomfortable. Please leave.
It's gone strength to strength, everybody, and they've always made headlines. It can be because things are violent, or you can maybe sleep with the odd hooker or two behind a tree in a certain camera angle.
And then get your money back afterwards by some means.
That's true, by not being violent though, of course not. They've always been in the news, and it looks like yet again they're in the news today because 2 days ago, right, they opened Burns' Casino,
That's right.
right, inside GTA.
So,
Okay.
so the way this works is that for the last like 6 years, there's literally been an empty casino on the side of the road, like near Los Santos, and everyone's been like, "What's up with that? When can we open it?" The sign's been saying it'll open soon. What's happening? So in the background, Rockstar has been working on it. There's obviously been many hoops they had to jump through to make this happen because when it comes to in-game gambling, as we will discuss, it gets complicated.
Yep.
But they finally jumped through those hoops and they've managed to launch it this week. It's a casino. You can walk into it. You don't need to buy any. I think you need to spend like $500 in-game money, which is
For
almost nothing.
subscription thing,
something like that, to be able to
membership.
walk into it.
Yep.
It's a casino. You can play casino games. There's poker, there's blackjack, there's slots, as you call them in America.
Yeah.
We call them pokies.
We call them pokies.
I think the Brits call them fruit machines.
What is
which
that?
I'm guessing it's because there's like the cherry, banana,
Maybe.
orange kind of. Maybe that's why they do it that.
Yeah.
I don't know what other countries call it. We just call it a fucking plague here in New South Wales
Yeah.
because they are. So the game has that, and there's also other content in it. It's apparently a very beefy update where you've got new missions that are being added, new vehicles, new properties, new clothes. You know, like there's a VIP penthouse kind of thing where you can buy into the casino as well that gives you access to the high rollers table, the VIP lounge, you know, all
That's
that
where
sort
we
of
would
stuff,
be.
which is obviously where we would
That's
be
exactly
if we were
where
there.
we would be.
So it's a real world casino, right? Sort of, in the sense that you can go to the tables, you can sit down, you can play blackjack, you can play poker, you can play slots, whatever. And you can sort of, in a way, lose like real world money, sort of.
Kind of. Okay, so you can purchase in-game currency with shark cards. Okay, it's like a credit card kind of thing, right? Now, you can buy a car with that if you want to once you've purchased the in-game currency. Or you can use the money to play in the casino and buy some chips or play the pokies or whatever. So that's where it starts getting a little bit problematic. Now, in the actual casino, you can only get 50,000 chips And then they said then you have to wait a specified
Yes.
time period before you can go back and then purchase another 50,000 worth of chips. So we don't know what that is yet, right? But I'm guessing it's not going to be too long.
I'm sure it's not too long.
It's not going to be too long.
So there are some sort of throttles on your ability to purchase chips in that game, but I'm sure that they're not going to be locking it down so that you can't spend a lot of money there. So just to be super clear on this, it's not like you're gambling real world money. Like I pay $50 for some chips. And I've got the chips now, fantastic. And I've lost all those chips. I'll buy another chips at $50. But it's basically that, because as I said, there's one additional step that's just like buy the microtransaction currency first, and then use that to buy the chips.
And we know what you do, don't we? You fuck people out of money and get away with it.
So it must be said that you can earn chips by earning the in-game currency. You can just grind this game and earn that currency. But there's obviously going to be a very strong temptation to maybe shortcut that if you are chasing something. And this is where we get to the incentives that drive this sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
Stuff in Grand Theft Auto is very expensive. It's very grindy. Big properties, the best cars, they cost a lot of in-game currency. And if people can't afford that or they don't have the time to grind for it, they might say, well, what I can do is I could just go to the tables and I might buy $10 of in-game currency, buy the equivalent number of chips with that, hope that I make it big so that I can then afford that house that I wouldn't be able to afford if I was buying the in-game microtransaction currency or if I was grinding for it. And there are already videos now that you can see online of like, hey, I won $250 million at the casino, so can you. So people are going to be very sort of like incentivized to engage in this economy in the hope that they can like improve their lot in life. You
Yeah,
know what I
definitely.
mean?
I think that there's a number of things. Number one, I do look at this and go, have we seen this kind of microtransaction before?
can't think of it.
Where where you actually are paying for, in-game currency that gives you an experience. It's like you can. And look, you have, of course, the chance to win back more and then continue that experience. But, of course, there is a chance that you lose it all again, back to the drawing board, get more money, and then continue that experience.
It's a form of microtransaction where you could end up with absolutely fuck all at the end, right? So at least with something like the most of the loot box stuff, they usually give you some crappy gold
Grey
or whatever
shit.
at the end. You can combine the gold to buy the skin you want after 50 loot boxes lost or whatever. There's nothing like here. You could literally just whack down $50. Put it all on red, lose your $50. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like that's.
I look at this and go, is this the next step up from loot boxes in reality? Because it's one thing to, pay $59.99 for 60 loot boxes and you're going to get some crap and maybe the stuff that you want. It's another thing entirely to engage in putting actual money down and engaging in exactly what a gambling experience would be like in real life. Pulling the pokies, or playing a virtual environment where you are playing with your real money and playing blackjack or playing poker or whatever. I feel like that's another step up, and it's getting closer and closer to the reality already of just a very dangerous vice of what gambling is.
I agree. It becomes quite morally grey, and I think where it's challenging is that this is a form of gambling that is not legislated at all. So let's talk firstly about the country's responses to this, right? Every country has very strict gambling laws, in particular around virtual gambling and what they will or will not allow when it comes to simulated gambling, whether that's just for reward or not. So for example, this update, by virtue of its structure, what it is, has already been banned in like the following countries.
Here we go.
Afghanistan, Algeria, American Samoa, Argentina, Azerbaijan, Bahamas,
Republic,
Bhutan,
Dominican, Cuba,
Bosnia.
Caribbean, Greenland, El Salvador too, Puerto Rico, Colombia, Venezuela, Honduras, Guyana, and still Guatemala, Bolivia, then Argentina.
Obviously, the list keeps going.
There's
but
a big list people.
There's probably 50 countries here that have banned this thing because of their anti-gambling or anti-virtual gambling laws. Even though you're not gambling real money in a sense and you can't take money out, they're still banned it, right?
Yeah, I think it's a very strong precedent to set, because this is new territory in terms of we haven't really seen this before, and it is GTA. It's like the mothership of gaming for a lot of countries out there and casual gamers and just people that don't know a lot about gaming. So that's why before, when there was violence and stuff, yeah, cool, we heard a lot about Mortal Kombat and all that, but it was also GTA that really got in the media. I do believe we're going to see this in the media again. We're going to see it for reasons like
big time
brain wiring. We've already spoken about this before on the channel in terms of how it affects kids, how it affects adults like that are already struggling with gambling.
Yep.
We've spoken about like Jim Sterling's video or other just studies in general that come out that show that the gambling mechanics in video games at the moment are bad enough to make people jump back into their addictions. or potentially train children to get ready for those addictions in the future.
Yeah.
And I think gambling, in this way that is so close to real life is only going to personify the already big problem that we're having in with loot boxes and microtransactions.
Look, here's the thing. A lot of people are going to say this is a game for adults. Kids should not factor into this conversation. And I agree with you in principle, right? I do. But there's a reality, which is we both, you and I in the camera, Sam as well, we all fucking played Grand Theft Auto when we were kids.
Yeah.
We did. We found a way, right? It's possible. And I know the parents need to step up and do more, blah, blah, blah. I get that. But we also need to recognize that some kids will get caught up in this. And I think it is a reality that we need to factor that into the discussion by some means. In terms of what we do about it, I think personally, I don't want to see this banned, right? I believe that Rockstar have a right to create this product. I believe that people have a right to play it should they choose to. So I'm not really in favor of banning it. But I believe that this should be subject to legislation. And in many countries, the countries that are not banning this, it won't be subject to that legislation because it's not a form of like gambling per se, in the sense that you can't take the reward out of it. But this is really important when we consider the fact that this is an unregulated gambling economy, where most countries, when they do have gambling, they set minimum requirements for what should come back to the player. So for example, in slot machines or pokies or fruit machines, they have a minimum return to player, which is like RTP, which is like saying that if people put $1 into pokies over time, how much should they get back, right? Generally speaking. And that ranges from generally like 70 cents up to $1. So what that means is that that's governments protecting people from losing all of their money with pokies, and saying, look, you need to make sure the player gets back at least this amount so they're not losing all their money, right?
New South Wales, for instance.
New South Wales has
our
laws
home
about
country and our home state. 87% for the pokies.
So what you've got here, though, is no such regulation, no such guarantees for the player. So you might have a return to player rate within this casino of like 30 cents, right? In the sense that you just lose like all your money in this because there's no guarantees about what should be coming back to the player.
And we've already seen this actually in the gaming industry. I mean, if we look at the FIFA loot boxes, some of the best players were like, less than 1% or
Yes,
0
definitely.
point. And in saying less than 1%, that still is not giving us a definitive figure of what that is. So look, it'd be different if we were seeing the market itself and the industry really kind of leading the charge morally and doing the things right. But they just haven't been doing that. And that track record for me makes me go, well, this is just bad news, because they're going to continue to do that. They're not going to morally and ethically do the right thing when it comes to giving you the right RTP.
So look, as I said, I get it. I don't want to see this banned. It should exist if it wants to exist, and people should be able to play it if they want to. People should be able to do whatever they like with their money. It's their choice. But I do feel as though when it comes to gambling, regulation is required. This is certainly a form of gambling. If I can purchase this currency with real world money, which I can, and I can lose it all, which I can, then I'm sorry, but like, that's gambling, right?
I kind of
I'm
feel...
playing pokies and I'm losing my money on it. Playing poker, losing my money on it. What do you want from me?
Yeah, I feel a little bit different on that. I understand that. I understand your point. I really think that we should keep gambling in games if you like, in terms of you want to walk into a casino. It could be all sorts of games that need to create an environment where you're in a casino. Fine, but take out putting real money into it. I think that the current situation with the monetization structures in the industry is bad. The industry itself is not self-correcting. It's not morally and ethically doing the right things right now by the player. The potential problems that we've already seen from brain wiring for young children and adults that already suffer from addiction. The last thing is, I just don't think the industry is in a healthy enough state to really flirt with this idea that, hey, let's throw also a casino with real world money into the biggest game that we've ever seen. Because, as I said, I just don't think that, morally and ethically, this industry is doing what it should do for this stuff to be even implemented. So I look at this and go, let's just take it out for now. It's just not the right time. It's the industry is not healthy enough.
I get that as well. I don't like it. I wish it didn't exist, but as I said, it's not about what I want. I think it's about what kind of rules should be created. And I do think that, I do not believe that deleting it is the right answer, because if people want it, they have a right to it, So we'll see what it shakes out. Either way, it is a very interesting new frontier. Like, you are talking about the largest game in history, implementing an in-game casino where people can lose money. That's a big deal in our industry. That's a big deal in our medium. That will change things. This will have a very long flow-on impact for the future. So you will definitely see this in the media. You will definitely see little Johnny playing Grand Theft Auto, and the parents like, he's playing the pokies now, and I'm really worried about when he turns 18 and goes to the pubs. You will definitely see that,
Which
right?
is actually, I think, very fair to be asking those questions.
I do think it's fair to ask those questions as well. So with whatever you think about it, fair enough. Everyone has their own sort of views on this subject. But certainly what we feel, ladies and gentlemen, we'll keep you updated on all the... We're basically a gambling channel now. We should just do a partnership with like Sportsbet.
Oh, we would do great Sportsbet ads.
Ladbrokes.
I don't know if you guys have Sportsbet. If you go to Ladbrokes, they got Ladbrokes probably. But until next time, guys, we're back tomorrow with Laymen Live. Tomorrow, we get to hang out with you guys in the comment section. We are live 8 a.m. Australian Eastern Time, Sydney, whatever. So whatever that is, come hang out. We'll see you then. Laymen out.